Well, peace, 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 fam. How y'all doing? Hello, hello, hello. This is Oracle Deborah with the Oracle Deborah podcast on YouTube. Let me make sure I'm good here. You never know. Always some special setup here going on. Um, let's see. Just do a little of that. And we need to do a little bit of it. Sorry. I got to get my mic set up here, which I don't, for the life of me, know why I keep forgetting. But I think I'm good now. Hopefully, it won't go in and out like it's been doing. But anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Oracle Deborah. This is your Saturn Day sit down. That's generally what I do on Saturdays, the Saturn Day sit down. It is pretty chilly out there and rainy and all that other good stuff. But we have a very interesting full moon today that's happening at 5:23 p.m. Is the full pink moon in Libra. Libra, ruled by Venus. Venus is the planet of love and opulence and money, actually. Justice, balance, um, fairness, peace. But Libra can sometimes have the mindset of peace at all costs, which can be very deceptive. So people find Librans to be quite deceptive because of that nature. And they can also be very indecisive. Libras can be very indecisive, which is interesting being the justice card. But I guess when they're constantly weighing the options, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, they can end up being very indecisive. And that's very frustrating um, for me when I get into that state. So there's also a lot going on as usual. We have the tariffs going on. The tariff war right now is paused with all the other countries except China. So there is a heat up of the tariff war going on between China and the US. Um, there's Terrence Howard coming out and speaking about Diddy. And I'm honestly, I'm more shocked at the responses from Black males. Um, regarding, what Terrence Howard had to say, which I honestly, in my opinion, I'm surprised it came up in his interview, but it came out. So maybe it was time for him to speak out because he usually doesn't get involved with that. He's really involved in physics. So he's on that trajectory. So, it was a little shocking considering he's really been talking about his patents, and he has over 90 patents. Um, and he's changing the game, even though Neil deGrasse Tyson, kind of pushed him to the side or whatever. And whoever this other Jewish physicist he had a so-called debate with, wasn't really a debate, on Joe Rogan's show. Um, and I didn't like that one. I thought it was just disrespectful. I thought they were clowning terrorists, and I didn't like that. So there's that. And like I said, it's more about the responses from Black males towards Terrence. So I don't know. Like, it just gets a little weird. And then, of course, there's the Carmelo Metcalf situation where the young Black man killed the young white man because the young white male and his brother um, basically put their hands on him, or this particular person put his hands on him despite two warnings not to. And so he lost his life over it. And um, you know, the debate has sparked about why this young man was not exercising stand your ground and self-defense. Someone put their hands on him. right? So I think immediately about the man who was jogging and white men came along in a truck and shot him dead, shot him cold in cold blood. So calling themselves protecting themselves. So there's all this fake, you know, my life's in danger crap going on from white America. And I've seen it firsthand up close with a group that I was working with last year, and they were pretending, oh my God, I'm in danger, but really that's code for that's us wanting to bully and remain keep our cult intact, because it's a very cultish thing going on. So, with that being said, I'm going to uh, I have some information I'm going to read about this full moon. And I'm not gonna share my screen. I'm just going to kind of go with it. So bear with me. Maybe I do want to share the screen. Uh, okay, fine. I prefer not to, but I will for the sake of, I want to make sure people get their just, I give people credit for the work they're doing. So, for the work they've done. Where do I want to be? Let's see. Let's try that. And I'll just leave it at that. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this set up. So you'll see here I have a little few things going on here. So let's leave that like that. And so, all right, so this is yoga journal, which again is one of my favorite sources um, for, you know, astrology today, basically what's going on. This new moon, I'm sorry, this full moon is happening today, April 12th at 5:23 p.m. You see the scales and the balancing. Hopefully we won't get some weird um, video. So there you see it here, April 12th, 5:23 p.m. So that's Pacific time. That would make it 8:23 p.m. our time, Eastern Standard Time. It's a specific time. So I'm going to look really quickly on my resource, my trusty app. Yeah, definitely going to be at 8:23 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time. So 5:23 is Pacific. So there's your scales. That's represented by Libra. Um, and Libra, the tarot card for Libra is the Justice card. Again, balancing the scales. Um, and this is referring to the signs concerned for equality, which is quite interesting because there can be a lot of deception in trying to manually or I won't say manually, but yeah, it just can be a lot of deception in reaching that goal. I'll put it that way. So Libras, it says Libra's wisdom starts within. It is a sign characterized by scales of balance. It reveals when our inner world needs rebalancing. I like to more or less use harmony in replace of balancing now because as someone, rightfully brought out to me a few weeks ago is for them, it helps them to um, I don't know, I guess be more at peace with themselves, whereas constantly feeling like, am I in balance or out of balance, right? So maybe it's more of a struggle to, or maybe it gets them more on the negative side of things, um, internally, where they're like, I'm out of balance, which, can have a negative vibe to it, as opposed to, I just want to be in harmony. Am I in harmony with, kind of thing? So that would be my pushback with the balance thing. The air sign also reveals the magic of sharing life with kindred spirits, which is very nice. Life brings many moments that can tip our scale. The key lies in recognizing when we need to pause and realign our energy, especially when connecting with others. The art lies in staying authentic to your way forward while lifting up another on theirs. In partnerships, it's natural for energies to blend. It requires awareness from each person to honor their individual purposes while nurturing each other's dreams. So, ruled by Venus, Libra inspires aesthetically pleasing environments, both within and without. Libra reminds us that our space determines how we feel internally and vice versa. From a center place, look at your connections, your romantic partnerships, work relationships, and close friendships. I will also add, particularly since the card I pulled for today is the Three of Pentacles, which is your collaboration card. So collaborating with maybe colleagues and things like that are more on the rise. So consider your soul's purpose and how these relationships support your evolution. Also, notice how you show up to support others. Be honest about which connections might need adjusting and which ones you might have outgrown, because the full moon is about letting go. Each person enters your life with purpose, yet not every connection is meant to last forever. So that's the, reason, season, or lifetime kind of concept that is used a lot. People are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. That's where that flows from. This truth can feel challenging, especially with long-term relationships. Yet growth sometimes requires creating space. This isn't about viewing people as temporary. It's about honoring when you've learned what you needed from each other. Notice if you reach out to someone out of genuine connection or simply habit. Approach this relationship review with an open heart. Everyone shows up as best they can, carrying their own shadows and healing journeys for sure. Sometimes you work through challenges together, and sometimes you need space to grow individually. I'm thinking about Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. And she did an interview recently, and she's like, she's just enjoying her time, her me time. And for some reason, she needed that. Anyway, trust your intuition about what feels right for each relationship. Use the energy of the first full moon. This is the first full moon in our astrological new year, right? Because Aries kicks off the astrological new year. And so this Libra full moon, it's the pink full moon, by the way, kicks off the first full moon in this astrological new year. So use the energy of the first full moon of the astrological year to envision how you want your relationships to feel throughout the coming months. Create space for partnerships that inspire your growth, spark your creativity, and bring happiness to your days. Life becomes more magical when shared with aligned souls. I absolutely agree. Although every relationship moves through cycles, the foundation should always support each person's highest purpose. Let this guide you as you navigate your connections under this full moon in Libra, keeping your focus on the relationships that truly light up your journey. All right, so what the full moon in Libra plus the sun in Aries means. Okay, so as I mentioned, that we are in Aries season. Every sun season connects with this mirror full moon. Aries and Libra exist on the same axis of the zodiac, as Aries lights up our sense of self. Libra brings us the gift of balance through connection. So, yeah, these are the opposites basically, which is very interesting. Um, so, this really should be a really sweet moon for our Aries folks. Aries ignites our inner fire, inspiring us to align with our soul purpose above all else. It awakens our instincts and it reminds us of our innate power to rise above any challenge. Yet Libra whispers a deeper truth, one that assures us our journey, assures us our inner harmony, lights the way forward when we cultivate. See, there's that harmony. Yeah, see that inner harmony. When we cultivate peace within, our path unfolds naturally before us. Yes, very true. We see each step with crystal clarity, especially during times of challenge. Like a wise warrior, our greatest strength emerges from our deepest calm. Absolutely agree. This is always so poignant. This is why I like the yoga journal. Um, Headstrong as a ram, the fire sign of Aries brings action to work that's aligned with your soul purpose. Okay. So this takes place easily when both partners understand and can express their soul mission. Committed relationships ask us to bend and flow together. Your work is to know which aspects of your world welcome compromise and which one aligns with your non-negotiable truths. When you stand firm in your values, you can do so from a space of love and appreciation rather than reaction. So create high vibrational partnerships, you need to understand both energies at play, Aries and Libra. By seeing these patterns within ourselves, we can shift into higher vibrations. This creates space for relationships where both people shine in their unique light while lifting each other higher. We learn to build connections where boundaries are honored and gifts are celebrated, all while maintaining our wholeness. All right, I don't really want to date. Their articles are really long. So that's the shadow part of Libra is the uncertainty in direct communication. That's where it gets a little, um, fickle. There's also the indecisiveness of Libra, the hesitation as a result of the indecisiveness, um, and how we undermine ourselves when we hesitate to express our needs directly. So, but I find that a lot of people have a problem with direct communication. It is normal in certain geographical areas and is looked down or frowned upon, not only in other geographical areas, but also from certain ethnic groups. Um, have a problem when other ethnic groups are direct towards them because they feel like, who do you think you are, kind of thing. So, yeah. So, this is a step by step process. Um, the full moon also illuminates where we might align with Aries shadow energy and act purely on impulse or forget to consider ourselves and our choices, which is very important for us to be aware of. Sometimes we see only through our lens, missing the gift of our perspectives. Well, we might push forward without truly hearing our partners, leaving them feel unseen when we notice ourselves becoming becoming overly forceful. There's always a healing energy, and I don't recall where Chiron is, but it does have it has a prominent place right now concerning this full moon energy. So where there is Chiron, there is also healing. Um, the illuminating magic of the full moon takes place at the midpoint of the lunar cycle. Okay, so there's that. Very in depth. So, what are some other influences for this full moon in Libra? It arrives as a pink moon and reminds us of spring's renewal, even though it doesn't look like spring today, sort of, kind of. Um, It shines brightly on newly blooming flowers. It mirrors the opening of possibilities in our lives and inviting us to embrace new ways of connecting with ourselves and others. Just as flowers push through the earth to reach the sunlight, we're being called to emerge from our old patterns into whatever way of being is needed now, which I love. I absolutely love that. By the way, this full moon in Libra, Libra rules the seventh house, which is the house of relationships. So, um, Libra is also their I statement is I balance. Their flower is the rose, particularly pink rose, and this is the pink moon. And their crystal is the opal crystal. All right, so that's just some fun facts for you. What makes this full moon extraordinary is Venus, Libra's ruling planet, stationing direct on the same day. Venus has been in retrograde since March 1, 2025, helping us review our relationships, values, and the way we express love. As it stations direct, we gain clarity about what we truly want in our partnerships, very true, and what we're ready to manifest in our lives. Venus is especially influential during this moon, amplifying its gifts of love, beauty, and abundance. Venus asks us to step into our worth and create relationships that mirror our highest vision. Venus is also conjunct the North Node and Saturn in Pisces, forming a profound portal of manifestation energy. Saturn brings structure to our dreams, while the North Node points towards our destiny. This combination in Pisces awakens our intuition and spiritual connection. You're guided to build lasting foundations for love based on your soul's wisdom. Listen to the quiet voice within. It knows which relationships align with your highest path and which are ready to be released with love. The sun is conjunct Chiron. I told you, Chiron was playing a key. I should have just kept going, but yeah. So this confirms the Chiron is conjunct. I'm sorry, the sun is conjunct Chiron in Aries, while the moon opposes this union from Libra. So this powerful configuration shines light on our deepest issues around identity and relationships. Chiron, known as the wounded healer, brings up old hurts not to pain us, but to heal us. You might feel vulnerable as past relationship patterns or self worth issues surface. Remember, these feelings arise to be acknowledged and released. This aspect creates a perfect moment to forgive yourself and others, letting go of what no longer serves your growth. The sun and moon square the sun and moon square Mars and Cancer, creating a dynamic tension that pushes us to act on our feelings. Mars and Cancer stirs up emotions around safety and security in relationships. You might feel protective of your heart or notice strong reactions when your emotional needs are not met. This energy asks you to be honest about what you need to feel secure while remaining open to giving and receiving love. It's okay to have boundaries and express your needs clearly. This creates space for authentic connections to flourish. This full moon offers a powerful invitation to heal the way you show up in relationships. I absolutely agree. I've been seeing that already because with the moon energy, you'll always feel the energy 3 days before and 3 days afterwards. So, yes, this has been coming up for me this week. So, like I said, this is always on point. Yoga Journal is always on point. Um, as Venus stations direct, notice which patterns you're ready to move forward from. Maybe you've been holding back from expressing your true feelings, or perhaps you've been giving too much of yourself away. So on point. The moon illuminates these patterns while Venus provides the energy to shift them. So we're getting help from this energy, you know, in terms of wanting to heal our relationships or heal ourselves as we connect with others in our relationships. So say for example, someone has a high tolerance for BS, right? They just do for some reason. They just have a high tolerance, patience, if you will, for nonsense, or in their relationships, and they have a exceedingly amount of patience for people not showing up, or not keeping their word, or not holding to their word, their promises, right? And taking you for granted. And there might be a habit of, well, let me stay in it. Let me keep doing my due diligence. Let me keep doing this. Let me do it. But you're not showing yourself any justice when you do that. Okay. Um, there is clearly healing on the other person's part. And trust me, there's always an excuse why they didn't call, they didn't show up, they didn't respond to your texts or whatever. This is you showing up for yourself and loving yourself. You understand what I'm saying? And because maybe this might be woven in your program, or in your conditioning, in your psyche, in the subconscious, that you just continue to show up when others don't show up for you. This energy is helping you to break that pattern and saying, I've had enough. I'm showing up for me. This isn't even about the other person anymore, because it's not like they made you show up, right? This is you breaking your own pattern. This is you evolving, right, into the loving, harmonious person that you are. Okay, so this is why these full moons are really key in helping us to evolve, right? Because we get to pinpoint, where am I not showing up for myself? Again, this is a whole lot less about other people and more about who we are to ourselves, how we show up for ourselves. Um, and when we do that, as the article pointed out earlier, when we do that, then people show up for us the way we desire. When we do that, then we energetically attract and align to people who are like us, who honor their word as we do, who show up when they say they're going to show up. They don't, you know, um, renege on their promises, right? The way that we don't renege on our promises. And even if there is a change in schedule or change in circumstances, they communicate these things to you. They don't just take you for granted. They are not just rude to you and then move on as if nothing happened. No. Why? Because you stop allowing space to be rude to yourself. You stop allowing space to not show up for yourself. And because you are energetically aligned with your higher self, the people you come in contact with, the people that are around you, are also doing the same thing. You are basically reflecting what it is you want from others. Does that make sense? Okay. I felt like I was going into my preachy Sagittarius mode. All right. Let's see. So again, here it is. Your relationships are mirrors reflecting back parts of yourself ready for recognition and love. When challenges arise with others, pause and look within. What parts of yourself are asking to be seen and honored? The full moon in Libra helps you to find balance between caring for others and nurturing yourself. You are worthy. Let me say that again. You are worthy of receiving the same love and attention you so freely give to others. Didn't I just say that? That's exactly what I just said. This is why I love the yoga journal, because, the yoga journal. Anyway, this is a pivotal moment for manifesting new ways of relating. The Venus, Saturn, North Node alignment in Pisces opens a gateway to creating partnerships aligned with your spiritual path. Take time under this moon to envision the relationships you want to create. Feel into the energy of being deeply seen, heard, and supported. Let go of any beliefs that tell you this is not possible for you. The universe is supporting your vision of authentic connection. Take advantage of this energy, because This is, what do you call it? You're not going up a creek without a paddle. This is easy flow energy. The energy is literally coming up underneath you and supporting you in this. So it's a lot less effort. You just have to be intentional about it. Just be intentional. Stay in the present, be intentional, manifest, envision, all of that juiciness. Do all of that because the energy's like, I got you. I got you. Yeah, I love this. Being vulnerable is the only way to allow your heart to feel true pleasure. Bob Marley. So, what is your invitation? Is an opportunity to explore inner harmony. That's your invitation. Remember to be gentle with yourself during this time. Emotions may feel intense as Mars in Cancer activates deep feelings about security and belonging. Create space for these feelings without judgment. They're showing you what you need to feel safe as you open your heart to deeper connections. Understanding your emotions is like learning a new language, the language of your inner world. When you tap into this wisdom, you break free from reactive patterns and create space for conscious choices. This is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. And it's your gateway to living in an aligned life. A gateway, emotional intelligence. I love all this. Think of your emotions as energy in motion. They flow through you, carry messages about what you need, what matters to you, what's asking for attention. But so often we get caught up in automatic responses to these feelings. We don't get caught in these automatic responses to these feelings. The responses are automatic, whether we want them to be one way or the other. This is where shadow work comes in at. This is why we have to do the shadow work so that we can reprogram our wiring so that these automatic responses that come up are working in our favor and not against us. Okay. So maybe you shut down when hurt arises. A lot of us do, or anger sends you into defense mode. These patterns might have protected you once, but now they're limiting your ability to create authentic connections. Just lovely. Your emotions are not problems to solve. They're guideposts showing you what needs attention and care. When you approach them with openness rather than resistance, they become your teachers. Absolutely. People are so resistant to emotions, and they say you're just emotional. There is a difference that being emotional or hyper emotional, I would say that, than expressing your emotions, right? And even hyper emotions in certain settings is a good thing. Think of a game, right? You're at a ball game, you're at a football game, and you're fired up, as long as you don't get violent, right? You're in this hyper emotional state, of, you know, um, rooting for your team kind of thing. Some people are like that when it comes to their country, right? They're very patriotic, very passionate about it. So it's where these emotions are lying, where it differs from being emotional to expressing your emotions in a cocoon of calm. Okay. So yeah, that's my interpretation of all that. The sun in Aries, this full moon can also intensify emotions, bringing up frustration or restlessness. Take time to check in with yourself. If you notice strong feelings arising, pause and create create peace within before moving forward. Practicing meditation, yoga, breath work, you all bring these intense energies into harmony. Breathing. Oh, I did say breath work. Yeah. So yeah, definitely breath work. When you approach life from a more balanced, harmonious space, everything happens with more ease. The incredible power of emotional intelligence opens you to experiencing life with intention and purpose. Awareness opens the doors to change. Trust that as you align with these cosmic energies, you'll intuitively attract and create a more compassionate, I said that, a more compassionate relationship with yourself as well as with others that will elevate your soul's journey. All right, so there's all of that. So, okay. So it didn't go sign by sign. Um, but it was I liked it. I liked it a lot. Let's stop sharing for a second and let's see if we can find, um, let's see. Hmm, let's see if we can find something. Oh, by the way, the moon phase is 23 degrees and 20 minutes of Libra. Um, yeah, so I just thought I'd throw that in there. Let's see. I was looking for all signs. Maybe I should say that, all signs. Better. All right, we'll try this one. Let's see, Aries. This full moon is in your seventh house of partnerships and long-term commitment. Your closest relationships are in the spotlight right now, and with Venus wrapping up its recent retrograde cycle the same day as this full moon, you might be coming off of some unnerving energy. I can see that. Taurus. It's time to zero in on your, this is by Mind Body Green, by the way. Taurus, it's time to zero in on your self-care, as Taurus generally does. As this moon lights up your sixth house of routines, health, and service. If there are any feel-good habits or routines you've been neglecting, this full moon will make them impossible to ignore. Just focus on yourself right now, Taurus. Gemini. With the pink moon landing in your fifth house of creativity and expression, um, as in a fellow air sign Libra, you're likely feeling energetic and enthusiastic under this full moon. The fifth house is all about joy and passion. So it's also possible you might notice blocks to things like enthusiasm, creativity, expressing yourself, etc. In this case, of course, full moons are about letting go. So your task would be to let go of limiting beliefs or blocks that inhibit your fullest expression. If you're not feeling especially blocked, on the other hand, use this energizing transit to activate your creativity and authenticity. Cancer, one of my favorite signs. If there's been trouble in your home for Cancer, now's the time to address it. With the full moon and Libra spotlighting your fourth house of home, family, and roots, you could be assessing everything from dynamics within the home to the literal physical state of your house. This is a great time for some spring cleaning. Full moons are about releasing, open up some windows, let out the stagnant air. If anyone in the home hasn't been feeling the love lately, including you, you could have an opportunity to address those wounds under these relationship-oriented moonbeams. And Cancer for sure has been doing that. Leo, feeling chatty, Leo? Pink full moon in Libra. It's keying up your third house of communication and information. Good thing you're not one to shy away from spotlight. Nope. With all that courage in your heart, you have an opportunity to get it out into the open right now. And you should, because verbalizing your truth can be a catalyst for a change. Get it off your chest, Leo. Virgo, money on your mind, Virgo? This pink full moon in Libra is activating your second house, which is the portion of your chart of your chart, which deals with everything from money and financial security to material resources, investments, and even your values and self-worth. Second house is also about what you put in your mouth, by the way. And yeah, your self-worth. So we say all that to say it will behoove you to take a closer look at your budget right now or make one. Assess your spending habits, ditching ones that are not sustainable. Um, but beyond money, remember things like time, energy, and self-worth are also investments. Libra, you're the spotlight here. So landing in your first house of self-image and identity. Don't be surprised if you feel like you're turning over a new leaf, especially considering we've reached the halfway point of the year since your birthday season. Consider this a checkpoint to assess how far you've come and where you're going. So naturally, checkpoints are a good time to drop off any baggage you no longer want or need. Trust the patterns and limiting beliefs that pop up now are meant to be let go. Contemplate your purpose, but beyond that, take aligned action. Scorpio, feeling deep, Scorpio? That's your typical MO, of course, but as the Libra full moon activates your 12th house of endings and subconscious, you could be feeling even more emo than usual. So this is a part of your chart that deals with shadow work. So don't be surprised if things get a little uncomfy. You're no stranger to transformation, Scorpio. The 12th house is where things go to close out so we can step into our next evolution. So that's your focus right now. So be brave, confront what comes up with self-compassion and grace, trusting your own ability to be reborn. Saggy, it's time to connect with your community in a new way, Saggy, because this full moon lights up your 11th house of larger community and networks. So, with full moons being a time of release, you might reflect on whether you're showing up in the ways you want to, as well as whether your community is truly showing up for you. In any case, allow for shifts to occur within your community now, and that includes potentially expanding your mind or philosophy around what's possible for the collective. The 11th house asks us for our active participation. Don't be afraid to dive in, Sag. Capricorn, how are things looking on the career front? Well, the pink full moon spotlighting your 10th house of public image, destiny, career, and you could be feeling a push to change something at work or with regard to your long-term destiny. The 10th house is actually the house associated with your sign. That's it. That's right, Capricorn. This is your house. So you're no stranger to these ambitious, hardworking vibes. You can channel this energy into making moves in your career, whether letting go of frustrating work dynamic or even making a career pivot altogether. In any case, hold the vision strong. Hold the vision strong, Cappy, and get after it. That's what we do. The goat going up the mountain. I swear, it gets old. Aquarius, this full moon in Libra is keying up your ninth house of expansion, travel, and higher learning. So you have the opportunity to shatter the glass ceiling. Very nice. This part of your birth chart is all about pushing limits and reaching new levels of knowledge and wisdom, while full moons are about release. So what's holding you back? That's the big question for you right now. And this moon is encouraging you to dream bigger. Whatever you've been feeling called to do, whether traveling, learning something new, or expanding your mind, you can put your plans into action now. And bear in mind, Aqua, that Pluto is, in your house and doing all kinds of is in your sign and doing all kinds of transformational things. So use that as well to use this energy to help you break through these glass ceilings or, perceive the glass ceilings. And finally, Pisces. It's been a chaotic month for you, Pisces. Yes, it has. Pisces has been crowded. Coming off your birthday season with both Mercury and Venus retrograde in your sign. The good news is Mercury is now direct and Venus goes direct the same day as the full moon, which is today. And this is landing in your eighth house of death and rebirth, sex, and power. Wow. This is a time of potent transformation for you. So just remember to take it easy and allow things to unfold. The eighth house also deals with intimacy, surrender, and vulnerability. So it's not a place you want to try to cling to or control. So, in other words, focus on trust, connection, and cultivating your next chapter. So the key takeaways: the Libra full moon each year serves as an annual reality check for our relationships, as well as the balance in our lives in general. And the pink moon reminds us of the promise of new life. This is in general, guys. So with your favorite full moon ritual on deck and a touch of Libra's diplomatic flair, we can all cruise into spring with more harmony. Lovely. Just really, really lovely. All right. I need to pause for a second, so I'll be right. So that is basically um my it's not my breakdown, but my version. It's not even my version. Um, my video on the full pink moon. Sorry. Um, Speaking of relationships, excuse me, my throat is dry, so I had to put a minute in. Yada yada yada. Um, Speaking of relationships, I have sat back and watched all these folks crashing out. Um, for the past few months now, I've talked about Black men are crashing out, females are crashing out. That reminds me of the two women that trashed the restaurant because they didn't get a refund for their food. And they beat the girl down and, did damage to the restaurant and, dropped the girl's cell phone in the water and all this stuff. And our sisters some of us are in some hyper masculine energy that absolutely is not serving our highest best good anymore. And I know there's a reason in the path as to how we got here, but it's quite counterintuitive at this point. And this is the first of Black women um, operating in that type of masculine energy. And when you understand astrology, you understand that not all women are dainty and and looking to be damsels in distress. We're not all built that way. Okay. Some of us are shy, and some women try to shame you because you're not necessarily shy. Maybe some people are shy, but um, if you are, oh, what's the word I want to use? Oh, I can't believe I can't think of the phrase or the term introverted. Um, a lot of extroverts will try to shame you because you're not acting, with speed and compulsion and all this other stuff. And these are the things, they are true to Aries energy, if you will. And these are things that Aries has to be careful of. But the moment you do that, they shame you for that. So you really need to be true to yourself, no matter what, and as much as possible in every situation, right? At least that has to be your intention. And so, and I actually had this weird woman say to me several days ago when we were at this, kind of luncheon and buffet. And usually at these buffets, the people are standing there behind and serving the food. So that's what I was expecting. So when I got to the line and I was happened to be in the front of the line and there was two sides on, I I was expecting, I was looking to see if they were doing the serving or if we were going to, go in. And the woman said, "See, I'm not shy." And I looked at her. I said, "Do I look shy to you?" And she said, "No." Okay, then stop trying to come off like you're bigger, better, faster, stronger, like Wonder Woman. Like, get the hell out of here. Don't let people shame you into these low vibrational states and you end up, not operating out of your highest and best good, basically, is what I'm saying. So you had these two women who did this thing with this food, whether they had a legitimate complaint or whether they were trying to maybe do something underhanded. We don't know for sure. But what I do know is generally if you have a complaint with a restaurant, um, then yes, you take that complaint to them. If you don't get what you want, and generally restaurants will say, listen, I mean, you ate most of the food here, but out of, good measure, we'll give you a discount off or something, or here's a $10 gift card or something, but it's not our policy to just return the food if most of the food has already been eaten. You understand what I'm saying? Um, and I don't know if that was the case. From what I heard, it was they got a flat out no, and then they flipped out. So this is where reviews come in at. I'm sorry, guys. This is where reviews come in at. This is where boycotting comes in at. You understand what I'm saying? And why are you going into these foreign restaurants anyway? Go help your people. Go eat, where your people, have businesses and things like that. Support your own businesses. Why are you going into these other um, restaurants with these groups of people that don't like you? They don't like you, and they don't respect you in general. So get in line, get in alignment. So again, that was a poor relationship with internal that manifested on the external, and now they're on the run. You're on camera, everything. So they were just in some Aries energy, some warrior energy, but in the wrong way. So I went to Terrence Howard. Okay. I like science. I like what he's doing. I love the fact that he has over 90 patents. Patents. Why are black men out here saying, I don't know, you're looking a little suspect. Why didn't you say anything when Diddy was out here? Well, tell me who was able to say anything when Diddy was out there. Cassie made a rare move when she filed a lawsuit against him. That was rare. She had help. She was able to navigate that situation. And even then, she didn't know how that thing was going to turn out. You understand what I'm saying? So, why are you asking this question of Terrence? Why are you saying, I don't know, bro? I think maybe something probably happened to you. Dude, I'm not saying men do have like a special radar when other men are bullshitting or whatever. But my point is this, and I'm not saying that Terrence is bullshitting. I'm saying if their intuition is telling them that, okay, fine. Out of all the things he talks about, that's the one you highlight. You're not highlighting the fact that he has over 90 patents, and some of them can be used right now. And he's working and acting to pay to fund this research he's doing. But all you're focused on is, I have a feeling you might be gay too. Or you might have had somebody do some things to you because you were in Hollywood. You've been in Hollywood a long time. You mean to tell me nobody ever did anything to you? That's what you highlight? So I don't know. I am a Terrence Howard fan. I am. And so I just think, like I said, black men have been crashing out a lot on social media. And they keep crashing out. So I'm not really sure why they're not getting it through their skulls that they're looking crazy right now. You're still trashing Black women, and you're still doubling down on how much you hate single Black women, and yet you're crashing out. So I don't know, I think there's a level of growing up that needs to be done here. You know, this is my thought. What do I want to work on? I want to work on how do I get the bag? So you got the bag and you're bored? Maybe you're just bored. Some of us are not bored. Some of us really are still working to trying to get our bag or not be taken advantage of by the state and the government or, you know, companies. You know, are you bothered by the tariffs? Or this means nothing, it's directly affecting, a lot of people and minimally affecting others of us, at least for now. Though we know an adjustment in tariffs is needed. I'm just saying what Diddy was about. This has been coming out for months now, if not almost a year already. So why is it all of a sudden you're pro Diddy? Like, what the heck? You're jealous of Terrence? You're jealous of Terrence Howard. That's what that's about. Okay, moving on. Um, the Carmelo, I don't know if I have his name right, Carmelo and Metcalf issue. Again, um, this is relationships, right? We're talking relationships. And these brothers, the Metcalf brothers, you know, these are twins. So they're in a special alignment, but they're coming after this other guy. But they're also, out here playing, I saw a picture of them, playing military and they're in sports and they're in their full testosterone mode. But you can't just go around pushing people around. And you think that's okay. I can do that because I know I'll get off. I don't know. You got off, but just not in the way you thought you were going to get off. So, I'm definitely all about staying your ground. And we definitely need to push back on this and also about self-defense. Don't put your hands on me without expecting some kind of consequence as a result of it. Oh, things have turned around, my friends. Things have really turned around. This isn't a day where you could just strap somebody up on a tree and walk away and go drink a beer. Ah, mm-mm. This is a whole new ball game here. So I just want to make sure I have Carmelo, Karmelo. Uh, that's his last name. And that's his first, Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, that's his first name. And then the other kid's name, I just know their last name, which is Metcalf, M-E-T, Austin Metcalf. So, you know, there was in this transit, some friction going on, like some squaring, a square going on. I think it was Mars and Cancer squaring, what was it? The Sun in Aries, which is very, a lot of friction. So I'm guessing this happened during this transit, basically. Uh, and it's unfortunate someone lost their life. But you don't know what to expect when you put your hands on someone. at least for some people, not anymore. You understand? There's also the tragedy of the family, the entire family that was in a helicopter in New York, and the whole thing just plummeted out of the sky and killed the entire family, the mother, the father, and the three children. All I'm guessing were under the age of 12, or at least under 13. They didn't look any older than 12. And one of them, their birthday would have been today, which is very sad. And the wife, they were there in New York. Where were they from? Can't think of where they were from. Spain? But the husband was the CEO of Siemens, a huge corporation. The wife was there for her 40th birthday. They were celebrating. The whole family wiped out. And then the pilot was a black guy, and who was a vet. And um, he wasn't special forces, but he was, oh, I can't think. Um, can't think of. He did what? The pilot, the pilot of aircraft. Yeah, I have to be more specific. He was a Navy vet. The pilot was. His name was Augustin. No, the name of the husband, his name was Augustin Escobar, and his entire family. They went down in the Hudson River. The pilot's name was Sean Keith Johnson. Um, and that's spelled Seankese, Sean Keith. They're not telling me anymore. I know he did some special forces, something or other. But anyway, very skilled, highly skilled pilot. And you saw how the plane just picked apart. I don't know if they're going to find sabotage, because how does a plane just fall apart and just drop out of the sky? Sad. It's very sad. So condolences to that family. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so beloveds, that is it. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm not going to lie, I was a little disappointed at my views at my last video. I thought it was a really good video. Um, so my Friday freebie just got like no views, and maybe it was just the time period too. So hopefully we can pick up and get some traction going again. And let's start getting these videos to go somewhere, do some things, and reach some people. That's most importantly. I mean, I'm looking at people who are funded and getting their own podcasts, and they're bombing. But I would love to have their numbers. You understand what I'm saying? But for them, who they are, they're bombing. So I don't know if we're on podcast overload right now or what. Um, but I do hope that I bring some value to my channel and to all of you. That's really more important for me. I know I'm not exciting, and I don't have antics and all these things. And maybe I'll get some equipment and have some, noises or something, and make it a little more fun. I could use to work in that area now that things have shifted into my fifth house. Um, but beyond that, is the information helpful? Is it giving you some value? You know, the content is important. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, the content is is most important. So, with that being said, I am going to skedaddle. I'm about it here. I did have a great week. It was a busy week. I am back full blown doing real estate stuff and going to a lot of networking events this week. And I will continue to network and, meet some folks. I met a lovely lady today and, and talk and get some deals going. Okay. That's the thing. But for now, I'm going to sign off. I do absolutely appreciate you. I love you. Happy Saturn Day, and I will see you next time. Peace, peace.